Thanks for joining me on another episode of the Filled Quiver Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Jody Thibodeau, and it's my goal with every episode to help you fill your quiver with God and the great outdoors. Now, this isn't a normal episode of the podcast. This is actually the first of a new sub-series, if you will, of the podcast, which is, or was originally intended to be a segment of the main show called Think About It. Well, for this year, what I've decided to try is to maintain the every other week release schedule of new episodes of the show. But on the in-between weeks, I really wanted to continue with the Think About It segment, but because the shows were hovering about an hour each, and I don't really want to go much beyond that in the main episodes, I decided to offer up the Think About It as its own standalone shows on those in-between weeks. Think About It is intended to be a devotional type show, which ends with a question that is intended to get you thinking about something in regards to your relationship with Christ. Some weeks, the Think About It shows will be directly related to a previous episode. Sometimes they will have absolutely nothing to do with any of the other shows. If you've been listening to the show, then this week's Think About It is going to sound very familiar to you, and that's because it was actually one of the Think About It devotionals from one of the first episodes. Without any further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into it. And make sure that you are following the show and have notifications turned on so that you'll know anytime new content drops, be it a main show or one of the Think About It series shows. For this week, the title of the devotional is, Are You Prepared? 1 Peter 3:15 says, But honor the Messiah as Lord in your hearts. Always be ready to give a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. And Matthew 24:44 says, This is why you also must be ready, because the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. What is one thing you've always wanted to do? Seriously, think about it. And before you go any further, come up with one thing you've always wanted to do if given the opportunity. I'm not talking merely about a trip somewhere or to go and see something. What I'm suggesting is something which requires more than just travel to achieve success. If you can't think of anything, here are some examples for you to choose from. A Montana bighorn sheep hunt in Unit 680. There's a 0.01% chance of being drawn for this tag. Grand Canyon rim-to-rim hike, fly fish the flats of the Bahamas, or climb El Capitan in Yosemite. Have something in mind now? Great. Now for the catch. You have to leave right now, and you get no how-to help or guidance. Set aside any pride you may have and answer honestly, are you prepared? Let's go back to the examples I mentioned. Do you have the physical strength and endurance to go on a 24-plus mile rim-to-rim hike or climb El Capitan? Have you been consistent enough with archery practice to make a clean, ethical shot on a western big game animal at 50 to 60 or more yards? Do you even know how to use a fly rod and reel? It's good to be prepared for worldly challenges and opportunities which may present themselves unannounced. But it's even more important for Christians to be ready to share the gospel at a moment's notice with someone who isn't saved. Whether it's an unexpected opportunity to check something off your bucket list at the drop of a hat, or sharing your testimony with a stranger, are you prepared? Think about it.